for this week's three-notched weekly preview. UConn comes to town. UConn, what, 1-9?
1-8, soon to be 1-9.
1-8, soon to be 1-9. Led by the fighting Jim Mora Jr., not to get confused with his famous playoffs father. Jim Mora Jr. was at one point the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks for one season and then got fired because he was terrible. And that ushered in the Pete Carroll era, folks. So this game means a lot for me because I want JMU to thank him for bringing in the Pete Carroll era in Seattle. All that aside, Victor Rosa, some guy to watch out for. He's the team's leading rusher with 432 yards on the season. He's one of two running backs with over 400 yards this season. And Taquan Roberson is their quarterback. He's completing a pass on 58% of his attempts, thrown for about 1,500 yards, 8 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. Defensively, the Huskies, they are led by Jackson Mitchell, who leads the team with 89 tackles. And Price Yates has 3.5 sacks, leading all UConn players. Bennett wrote an awesome article earlier this week over on JMUsportsnews.com previewing this matchup. If you want the too long didn't read, take it away, Bennett.
Yeah, UConn's not very good is kind of my too long didn't read. They've got a lot of flaws, including in the secondary where they're not the best. Rosa, good running back. You mentioned him dealing with an ankle injury. So last week he was limited against Tennessee. We'll see how much he can play. Offensively, they just have a really hard time scoring, which is obviously not something you want out of your offense, the inability to score points. So that's tough.
Especially against a JMU team that has scored right. less than 30 just twice.
Yeah, it's tough. The other issue they have is that they can't really finish games. So they've actually hung in a few games, right? Against Boston College, they only lost by 7. Utah State, common opponent, they actually lost only by a point. They blew a lead in that game. So
JMU and them have that.
Yeah, they have that in common as well, right? Blowing leads against Utah State. But no, UConn's, they're fine, right? They're maybe better than their 1-8 record suggests, but they're not a particularly good team in any facet. They're on their backup quarterback because their starter got injured in game 2. They've just had a really rough go of it. They don't really have a ton to play for at 1-8 other than like an exciting upset. So it's one that you would expect a comfortable JMU win. I don't think JMU is dropping like 60 points in this game. UConn's given up 50 plus once. That was to Tennessee. Tennessee had 3 defensive touchdowns. I think they might have all been in the third quarter. Pretty disastrous quarter for the Huskies. So they've got some flaws, but they're probably going to like, I don't want to say they'll keep it competitive necessarily, but it's not one where you'd expect like an FCS, like a 70-7 kind of score. It's one, I think, that if JMU wins by, and the spread's like 25-ish points, if JMU wins this one like 31-10 or something, that's sort of in the ballpark of what you could expect. If they do blow them out, it's just sort of signals that JMU is continuing to play at a really high level.
Awesome. Look forward to it. Kick is 2 p.m. ESPN+.